You won't believe it, Sam's ancestor is locked away, and the Decepticons are tracking down the Allspark thanks to a signal from Chaos. They discovered the Allspark's location and rushed over. The Shatterstorm got there first and bombed the place like it was a New Year's Eve party. Meanwhile, Chaos was tearing up the base, ready to unfreeze what had been frozen for 80 years. If this guy wakes up, humanity is done for. So they quickly called the Autobots for help. Finally, they found Bumblebee, and after Sam sweet-talked him, Bumblebee decided to go easy on them. With the danger looming, they had to skateboard away with the Allspark. Sam pressed a button, and the Allspark shrank down to they had to hold the Allspark out of there fast, or else the fallout would be a scene no one wants to see. Otherwise, they'd have to charitably transport the Allspark, which was a hassle. Bumblebee became the Uber for the Allspark. They absolutely cannot let the Allspark drop, the consequences would be disastrous. Bumblebee had to ensure the Allspark got away. With military backup, Bumblebee sped out. Unicron's ice melted, Chaos erupted. That ruthless Decepticon leader came back to life, and with the wave of his hand, the base turned into what looked like a party where someone set off too many fireworks. He transformed with flair and bolted out of the base like a star on the red carpet. Bumblebee and the Autobots finally reunited, but the Decepticons weren't letting up. Vehicles turned to scrap under their relentless onslaught. It was a real demolition. Bone Crusher transformed and went after them, and Optimus Prime jumped in to meet him head-on. Bone Crusher charged, but Optimus wasn't ordinary. He severed his arm one-hit wonder. Both fell off the overpass, like kids on a slide, and Optimus was teaching him a lesson about life and death. The rest of the Autobots teamed up with the human army, but out of nowhere, Shatterstorm rained down missiles. Bumblebee got blasted, and to prevent the Allspark from landing in Decepticon hands, he tossed the task to Sam. At the most critical moment, Ironhide swiftly mustered the Autobots for reinforcement, but unfortunately, just turned into the sacrificial lamb amidst the sudden turmoil. They set their sights on Sam, but at the critical moment, Optimus finally showed up, and Megatron seemed like he was about to unleash some serious rage. But soon, Optimus was in trouble, as Megatron went right for Sam. What a sticky situation. Just as Sam was about to hand off the Allspark to the Air Force, Shatterstorm swooped in like a superhero and shot down the plane, sending Sam flying off a 100-meter-high building. Fortunately, Optimus caught Sam just in time and jumped back into action against Megatron, but injured Optimus was no match for him. Luckily, the Air Force arrived just in time, flooding the place with firepower to delay Megatron's assault. The real battle had just begun. Optimus asked Sam to stuff the Allspark into his chest, but Sam cleverly opted for Megatron instead. Megatron was fried by the Allspark's energy, and his core reactor went kaboom. Talk about a shocking experience. Humans and Autobots scored their first major victory together, and the military dumped Megatron's remains into the but Shatterstorm slipped away unnoticed. It seems the story is far from over. After Megatron was dealt with, humans buried his remains deep in the ocean. What a hidden mystery. However, the Decepticon remnants were still active, and we've located U.S. military satellites. No good intentions. They received intel about the safe at the naval base and sprang into action, sending a robot dog to Earth wet as sight. The pup breezed past the naval base defenses, and down the vent shafts were countless tiny metal balls, forming a squad of mini warriors. The little mantis snatched the Allspark fragments, tag-teaming with the robot dog to make a perfect getaway. Next, the Decepticons went underwater to resurrect Megatron. Clearly, they mean business. After reviving, Megatron shot off the planet, arriving at a dead star where he ran into his old boss, Fallen. Megatron thought the Allspark was destroyed and was ready to invade Earth, but little did he know Fallen was aware that Sam absorbed it. He wanted to dig into Sam's brain for the secret behind Bumblebee's sorrowful tears. As it turns out, Sam is 18 and ready for college, and that breaks Bumblebee's heart. But the Autobots were still under wraps, so no Bumblebee on the road to school. Too many feels for the poor guy. While packing, a chunk of black rock fell from his clothes, and it really freaked him out. He picked it up to find it was an old Allspark shard, and in an instant, a flood of cryptic symbols flooded his mind. The shard became super hot, burned through the floor, and landed on the dining table. Talk about a showdown brewing. In a flash, the kitchen appliances transformed into tiny robots and went berserk in Sam's room. The mini-robots raced around searching for the Allspark fragment, scaring Sam to the point he jumped out the window. At that moment, Bumblebee showed up, activated his armor, and took down the little punks. But due to a lack of control, he inadvertently blew up Sam's house. What a truly unexpected blunder that was. Bumblebee successfully saved the day, yet he still got a good scolding from Sam. What a real mood killer that was. Bumblebee sulked back. Sam gave the Allspark to his girlfriend, planning to give himself the chop. But little did they know, those mysterious symbols had already invaded Sam's brain, an unseen threat. On the first night at college, Sam and his roommate attended a welcome party, but his brain started twitching and he randomly wrote a bunch of weird characters. A senior female student felt curious about Sam's odd actions and surprisingly approached him on the spot. Luckily, Bumblebee swooped in like Superman to save Sam just in time. What a superhero moment.